friends. This morning, many more people on edge. The devastating Caldor Fire continues to threaten to cross state lines into Nevada. You just heard a little bit ago from a Douglas County resident who was bracing for impact. We have a new video our crew sent in overnight. This is just west of Kirkwood. It's a spot all eyes are on as the Caldor Fire continues to march on. Good morning, everyone. I'm Walt Gray. We got a special edition for the next hour of the news. A lot going on with the Caldor Fire. That's why we're bringing you this special hour morning blend. So talk to us about where we stand now. A better night since last night.
Yes, you'll hear it from meteorologists to firefighters that are giving their morning briefings. Everybody with what went down yesterday, that was the best scenario with the worst case conditions. Now, we cannot depend on that happening again today.
Right.
We still have a huge area of fire that is established, ready to go when the winds kick up later on today in that same north and northeast direction. And there's many more things. There's many more homes, neighborhoods, even another ski area that is in line with where these winds are going to line up later on this afternoon.
Okay, we're on it. We'll continue to follow it. Rob, thank you. This morning, that fire has surpassed 200,000 acres. Containment is 20%. It started 18 days ago. It is currently burning in El Dorado and Amador County. So check out this map here. You can see where the fire is burning this morning. This particular map uses satellite data to detect points of intense heat. The darker squares indicate more recent detections. You can see the fire staying south of the city of South Lake Tahoe, but it is moving east towards the Nevada state line.
And the fire moves again as it's moving toward the state line, as Walt just said. So let's take a look at where those evacuation orders are right now. It includes Highway 50 from state line just south of Zephyr Cove. Also, both Lower and Upper Kingsbury have evacuated. Evacuation shelters have been set up throughout the area, including a few in Nevada. That includes the Reno Sparks Convention Center. Well, ABC 10 was in Mottsville. That's a part of Douglas County, which is now under an evacuation warning. We saw people hosing down a wooden barn that was built in the 1800s. They spent hours digging up the area surrounding that barn to create more defensible space, and they were doing whatever they could to make sure it survived.
This is obviously an antique barn, and this whole property was that brush back there you guys can see in the back, and all we can do is what we can do and rig the sprinkler up to soak that wood, because that thing's a tinderbox and it's full of hay too. This is unreal.
Extremely unreal. They were also in the process of evacuating horses from their property.
Still a lot going on with this wildfire. We do have team coverage right now.
Absolutely. ABC 10 meteorologist Rob Karlmark has an update on the forecast.
But first, ABC 10 meteorologist Tracy Humphrey is live at Echo Summit to talk about the firefighting conditions right now. Tracy.
Hey, thank you, Walt. And Bria, yes, we are just on Highway 50. The western side of 50 is just in front of us. Back behind us, headed towards the east, is a huge ridge. But you can still see a lot of fires, and you can see the smoke associated with them. So the winds are, again, expected to pick up later on today. They're going to be pushing that fire towards the east, so those fires will be clearing that ridge if they get enough burst of wind to help move them forward. And back behind that ridge is Highway 89. And that would be the concern. You have embers again setting more spot fires near Highway 89. Let's take a look at some video of fire crews. They have been working diligently on the Caldor Fire. You know, it started back in August 14th, but we are just so dry. We're looking at exceptional drought conditions for much of the state. We had a very shallow snowpack. We didn't pick up a lot of rain in the spring, so we knew that we were very dry. We always knew that the fire season was going to be something that we would have to contend with, but it has really picked up very early for us in the season. Now, our peak portion of the actual wildfire season typically doesn't come to around September, when we start to get a change in the weather pattern and you have the opportunity for more storms to start to roll in, and genuine rainfall normally doesn't get here until around November. So we do still have a lot of time to go. I was watching and listening to an actual presser from CAL FIRE, and Tom Porter actually said, he's a CAL FIRE chief, that this is the first time in California history that we have had wildfires burn from one side of the Sierra Crest to another. And there are two fires that are the exception. They both happened this year, and they both happened during the month of August. And I bet you can figure out what they are. One was the Dixie Fire, and now we have the Caldor Fire, burning in the Tahoe Basin with the opportunity for more gusty winds moving back into the forecast this afternoon. And then after that, hopefully winds die down Wednesday night, and then firefighters can start to work a little bit more on containment. But you can see a lot of those fires are still smoldering, and you know what? They're just looking for a little wind. They just need something to push the accelerator, and then after that, the opportunity for more spot fires will be in the forecast throughout the day. So firefighters are really going to have another tough afternoon and evening, and then after that, we're really hoping that the weather settles down and that they can make a few more inroads.
Wow.
That's a look at what's happening here. Back to you.
Yeah, that shot you have right now, Tracy, tells the whole story right now. All right, Tracy, thank you. We will visit again. Rob, Tracy mentioned the Dixie and Caldor fires, still very active. You've got the red flag warning until 11. How's that going to play in?
So we have to get through today. I know that as we're waking up and you look at the imagery and you're hearing from the firefighters and you see the scenes, and really what we're looking at is a big positive story that has emerged in the last 24 hours compared to what we were looking at. Now, you cannot guarantee that situation again today because we still have the same conditions. As Tracy just showed you, there's a number of fires all throughout the basin that are ready to go once the wind kicks in, which we know that it will within the next few hours or so. That humidity drops, the wind starts to kick in that same general direction. So we've got established fire that is just ready to go. Remember, the air is still just as dry as yesterday. There's abundant fuels, and this is, again, at times there will be an urban interface, meaning that the fire is going to go from wildland, which is brush and trees and things like that that easily burn, closer to neighborhoods. Now, one caveat about using these, and this has been widely discussed, but maybe I haven't talked to you about it on TV yet. This is satellite imagery. So this gives you a broad idea from satellite. As you can imagine, they are far away, so they give you an idea of where the fire is moved. And again, south of Pioneer Trail, and it's locked up in these hillsides. But they also do overnight and evening infrared flights, and that way they can get a direct perimeter. One thing you should notice is that it did jump right over Christmas Valley. That is an amazing story right there. And then this, for some perspective, this was a 5-mile run yesterday. A 5-mile run. That is absolutely impressive. And I know the winds were strong, maybe down low in the valley they were not as strong, but where they were going, this fire just ripped through terrain that was very steep. A lot of vegetation ready to go, and that's exactly what happened. And we turned the camera around, so to speak, and you could see what's next. This is State Line where the casinos are. This is Heavenly Mountain Resort, the California Lodge, and it's just on the other side of the ridge. Now remember, when the winds kick in later on today, if it could stay on that back ridge there, that's the best case scenario. But the wind will be pushing at times off to the north and northeast, and that's why we just can't take our guard off today, because it was busy this morning. The air is starting to dry out. The winds haven't even really kicked in yet, and they will later on today. Now, it's not going to be quite as strong as yesterday. Yesterday, the potential was right around 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts. Today, it's about 20 to 25. That's still important because we got to get through today before, and I want to show you the positive thing here. Look at the winds tomorrow afternoon. They are going to be calmer, and we're looking for better days weather-wise, but we got to get through today, another critical day in that firefight.
And that is why we've been watching Twitter as well. Meteorologist Tracy Humphrey, you just heard from her, but I've been watching her Twitter as well. This was actually on 50. You can see it's just windy, the gusty wind, the fire, and a portion of 50 is shut down because of all of this. So throughout the day, we'll continue to update you on those tweets. So what does that mean for traffic? Well, it means a portion of US 50 is still shut down, Sly Park and Myers, Highway 89 Pickett's Junction, and 88 at Dewdrop. So you can take 4, but you also can take 80. That's actually your best bet. But we'll stay connected throughout the day on everything that's happening right here in the traffic center and throughout the day on the newscast. Bria.
Brittany, thank you so much. Let's send things now over to Bianca Bono, who is live near the fire lines right now. Bianca, what are you seeing?
Yeah, good morning. We are off Pioneer Trail near the High Meadow Trailhead, if you're familiar with the area. And this has been a real focus for so many fire crews over the past 24 to 48 hours, this area in particular. And I'll show you why, because you could see these conditions would just be so bad for this area if the fire were to make up in this direction. I can tell you right now, we don't see any fire or flames, just a lot of smoke and ash in this area. It's fairly quiet, which is a great sign. We ran into a Cal Fire crew yesterday when we were grabbing gas, and they said they were all heading in this direction to really put as much focus on this neighborhood as possible. You could see so many marks from bulldozers that have made their way through this area. Hand crews have come through here just trying to create as much defensible space as possible, and you can see why. It runs right up into this beautiful neighborhood, Montgomery Estates here. These homes obviously right in a dangerous spot up against this beautiful landscape, but crews have really come in and prepared this area as much as possible. Most of these homes here, if you live here or you know someone that lives here, most of these homes are marked with yellow tape showing that crews have prepped the homes in this area. So a great sign for folks who live in this area. I want to show you though, they're certainly taking advantage of these cooler conditions and low winds that we're seeing this morning because they're back out here again this morning. We're hearing a lot of chainsaws out in the distance in towards the trail there. So they're still working hard just to make sure that this area is prepared if the fire were to make a run this way. And we've talked so much about it over the past couple of days, but you can see the vegetation, the terrain in this area is just so dry, guys. So digging it up and really exposing that soil underneath is going to be so great for this area. But again, the fire really to the south of us at this point, but really want to make sure that those who know someone in this area who live here, rest assured, crews have been working tirelessly, really putting a focus on this neighborhood off Pioneer Trail.
Absolutely. I know it's a round-the-clock fight, but hoping that everything just stays good there. Bianca, thank you so much. We have another look at the Caldor Fire in a moment near Christmas Valley, but this morning, reporter Devin Haskins shows us the latest from where he is.
We're on the road that leads out to Echo Lake, and as you head up that road, you'll run across stuff like this, rocks that have fallen onto the road because of a tree that had fallen over, burnt out from the bottom, kicking them out. Further up, branches are covering the road. We tried to get there to see if the cabins were still standing.
We're coming up on lot 50 here. All of these good to go. Wow, this is just crazy because this whole hillside was on fire yesterday.
On Tuesday, one of our reporters was able to get down to the lake and show that multiple cabins were still standing. I followed up earlier this morning and talked with a fire official, and he said the cabins made it through the night. The fire is still burning at Echo Lake. Fire officials say that it's up in the hills and slowly making its way down towards the water. They also say that what the fire is doing is good news, and they call it a waiting game. And from the top of Echo Summit, looking down over the Christmas Valley, you can see flames riding the hillside. Firefighters said that the winds weren't as bad as they anticipated, and they say they dodged a bullet with all the homes down there. Fire officials say that if they can keep the fire up in the hills, it'll have less fuel to burn.
We're hoping that we can get it up there and just kind of hang it up in some of the granite and the sparser fuels, which will allow us to, once these winds subside and the red flag warnings go away, will allow us to try to get crews up there and try to go direct and hold it in place.
One of the things that firefighters say actually helps them is when the smoke sticks around and it kind of creates more of a blanket, taking away the oxygen. Because when that oxygen gets into that fire, it makes it roar. And that's what we've seen cause some of those huge runs. I'm Devin Haskins. Back to you.